Welcome to Trojan TV Extra, a special edition of Trojan TV without announcements, and lots of great news and feature stories. This week's episode is dedicated to EMS teachers. Enjoy!
Why people are forming their opinions. It's going to be interesting because we might find that looking at the same...
I have been teaching for, I think this is my 14th year, maybe my 15th year, and being a teacher is never boring. My kids always surprise me and they always make me laugh, and I just love it. I have learned that there is more than one way to learn, and I think when I first came into teaching, I was a good student. I came into teaching because I liked school, and watching my students learn and the way we process information, the way we approach tasks, I've learned that there are a lot of different ways to learn, and that's what makes teaching so interesting and challenging.
DL, you know, our science teacher. Not your science teacher, right?
Right now we're in our argument writing unit, and students are learning how to form an argument, which is different from forming an opinion, because a lot of times we form an opinion and we just want to share it, or we look for things to support our own opinion. I want my students to learn that they need to be informed decision makers, and they need to learn how to access as much information about a topic as possible.
This has been Abby and Kara reporting for Trojan TV.
But, you know, people could just share phones,
For this week's Classroom Spotlight, we caught up with Mr. Richardson and his class debate on technology use.
This is called a philosophical chairs debate, and it's so called because it requires students to listen and reflect on what they hear more than they speak.
Mr. Richardson enjoys the debate because it allows students to relocate throughout the activity.
When they change their thinking, they'll have an opportunity to move to a different part of the room, to join the other side or the middle of the room if they become undecided on the topic. And those are the two reasons I really love this activity.
The debate appealed to the students because it allowed them to share their opinion with the class.
Well, I mostly enjoyed that we got to express our thoughts without having to argue as much, but we still got to say how we felt and have other people actually hear us.
We recently read a short story that involves the risks of relying too much on technology. And so I created a proposal that I thought students would enjoy debating, and that fictional proposal is that to reduce the risk that students become too dependent on technology, EMS has decided to totally ban cell phones from school.
Mr. Richardson decided to hold the debate in order to help students gather ideas for their written argument on the topic of modern technology use.
So we have to write an opinion essay about sort of the same subject we did the debate on, and that really helped me to understand the other side of the story and helped me better understand my opinion.
There are three main things Mr. Richardson wants his students to learn from this activity.
One is to expand and refine their thinking on the essential question: how is modern technology helpful and harmful to society? The second thing I want them to practice doing is crafting a claim in response to a question and supporting that claim with clear reasons and relevant evidence. And I also really hope that they get some practice in engaging in a respectful, formal, fruitful debate.
This has been Joey and Olivia reporting for Trojan TV.
So giving clarity into what that meant.
For this week's Things You Didn't Know About Your Teacher, we caught up with Mrs. Mueller, who travels all around the world. Mrs. Mueller has been to many different countries throughout the world.
I've been fortunate to go to a lot of different places. I traveled through Europe as a study abroad program, and I've been to India, and I've been to Africa and Sierra Leone, so those are some of my favorite places.
Mrs. Mueller has learned many important lessons from her traveling.
I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is that the world's a lot smaller than it seems, and that we have a lot more in common than we think, and that people are good and kind. My first trip, I knew I loved it, and having that freedom and exploring and seeing different things, different culture, experiencing different food.
On her many adventures, there have been some interesting moments.
I was lucky to go on a honeymoon with my husband to New Zealand, and when we went paragliding, and I was the first to go, and we got all set up, and the instructor told us to run off the side of the cliff as fast as we could, and I did that, and we never made it, so we crashed down the entire cliff, and then thankfully I wasn't hurt too bad.
This has been Hope and Sophia reporting for Trojan TV.
Thank you for watching this week's Trojan TV Extra. You can follow DMC and Trojan TV on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook by searching @EastDMC. Don't forget to tune in on Friday for our regular Trojan TV.